here with Jerry LaMothe, film producer.
Yes, sir.
Of an independent film that we're going to explore today called The Tombs. Jerry also created his own film company called True Life Films in 2000.
Yes, sir.
And since 2000 has put out a number of hits, a number of underground classics, including A More Affinity. Jerry, man, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
First, let's ask the question, The Tombs.
Yes.
Can you tell us about it and what inspired it?
Absolutely. The Tombs is about a Brooklyn man's 3-day journey through the New York Central Booking Jail system, known on the streets as The Tombs, and the interesting personalities he encounters while he's incarcerated. What inspired it was my own personal experience a few years back, going through the Central Booking system and just learning the politics and bureaucracy that exists within the jail systems and how they pretty much set you up for failure.
Yeah, definitely. One of the scenes that we actually got to see is of the brother in the Tombs, seeing his lawyer for the first time.
Yes.
And I think that clip is powerful in itself.
Thank you.
Was that something that you experienced personally, or?
It was something that I experienced personally, and once I did get out and I spoke with several other brothers from around the way in the neighborhood, you know, it was a eye-opening experience for me to discover that brothers of all backgrounds, I mean, cats with prison records, brothers, you know, with the suits, with the day job, we all had the similar issue and problems. It's almost like everyone has been through the system, almost like it's a rite of passage, you know, for us around the way and in the hood. And I found it really compelling how tragic it can be and how scary it could be for a brother to have to basically put his life in the hands of this individual who's basically a public defender. He wants to go home, you know, and he's basically playing by the rules as well, and coming to you and telling you, well, you know what, man, this ain't no big deal, just plead guilty so you can go home. You don't want to go to trial. And basically always trying to lean the person to go towards a guilty charge, guilty plea, as opposed to pleading innocent, regardless of whether they are or not.
Right. There was a recent study done that came out pertaining to the arrest records, the arrest for marijuana use.
Yes.
And it showed that while Caucasians are 80% of the population of marijuana users, then 10% of those who have any kind of criminal involvement with marijuana.
Wow.
And we're the complete opposite, where blacks and Latinos comprise 80% of all marijuana arrests or related arrests.
Wow.
So again, it goes to your social commentary. Was there anything else that you've seen that might have been similar or alarming to?
There was actually just basically the fact that you could be arrested for riding on the block on a bicycle as opposed to the street, not having a helmet, you know, sitting on this. A lot of people aren't aware of that. Sitting on the stairwell in a train station, you know, crossing the cars.
Right.
You know, all of these things. I heard different stories from brothers, you know, that range from spitting on the sidewalk to, you know. So if you meet the wrong one on a bad day, you know, and a lot of the youth sometimes don't have ID, you know. They don't have a license.
Right.
You know, so they're riding their bike on the block. You know, cops stop them. You're supposed to ride it on the street. You know, shorty gets smart with him. He could throw you in the system.
Right.
And, you know, that's how the ripple effect begins.
The Tombs. In your research to make the document, to make the movie, what did you discover?
The first thing that stood out to me was the fact that this country, you know, has the highest population of incarceration in the world. You know, more than China, you know, more than most third world nations, and to me, over 2 million to be exact, which consists of mostly us, you know, people of color, and the Latino community, of course. And for me, I thought that was alarming. And, you know, I'm not one to say that if an individual doesn't you know, if someone merits the right to be in prison and be incarcerated, fine and well. But, you know, between those numbers, clearly there's something wrong. There's something happening. You know, like they said, it's become the new slavery. And, you know, as you pointed out earlier, it's become a business. So, and at our expense.
Right. Film. This is a short, by the way, right?
Yes.
And the short for the audience is what?
It's basically a shorter version of a feature film. It usually ranges anywhere from 8 to 29, 30 minutes.
Okay.
So, yes.
So this short, is this social commentary that you're making?
Absolutely. I mean, as you know, my background is particularly feature films. We basically wanted to do something to launch my new production company, Sleep Study Entertainment, and something that would make a strong statement, would have a strong social and political, you know, awareness.
Sleep Study Entertainment. So what happened with True Life? It's done?
True Life still exists because there are films that were made under True Life, under the banner.
Right.
But there's a lot of symbolic meaning behind the whole sleep study thing. It's sort of like a resurrection and sort of a reemergence for me as a filmmaker.
Right. So let's explore just being a filmmaker, a young black filmmaker with independent films. How does that whole scene work, and why are there not that many, or is there?
It's definitely growing. There's definitely far more than there were, say, 5 years ago. It's still scarce. It's still a very, very hard film industry to break into. But I think with the, you know, with the new digital age and digital era, with DV and HD cameras now, there is an emergence of more filmmakers.
It's much easier now,
It's
right?
much easier to do it, but not necessarily to execute it.
Right.
You know,
and by execute, you mean like...
People still have to understand there's an art to it. It's a craft.
Right.
And it shouldn't be taken lightly. You know, like my cinematographer says, you know, he could give you a trumpet, but that doesn't make you Miles Davis.
Wow.
You know, you still got to have the skill and study and respect the craft.
Right.